Hello, hello. Once again, my name is Juan Aguilar. I just remember what I was talking about in my last video. I had to go watch the whole video again. And I was like, oh my goodness, I was talking about that. Well, anyways, I'm back on track. I love this chair so much that she loves me back. She wants me to take a nap. Okay, here we go. We were talking about all of us thinking that we have it made, basically. We think, oh, I've been in church, I've been blessed. God has blessed me, blessed my family, the Holy Spirit is in my life. Yes, my friend, yes. You have done everything you needed to do to be saved. But remember, I would like to tell you one thing. There was this rich kid that came and told Jesus, my Lord, my Lord, my Lord, what can I do, you know, to reach heaven, to be better, to really be out there where I need to be at? Because my whole life I have followed the law. I have done everything that is required of me. I have done it all, my Lord. And he wasn't lying because Jesus was listening. And yeah, Jesus said, you know what? You're right. You have done everything. So, you know what? Why don't you go give away all your goods, sell them, do whatever you got to do, give them to the poor, and come back and follow us. Come with me, you know. But he did not understood what was happening. Sometimes now that we know the gospel, now that we know the history, okay, now when we see, basically not see, but when we hear and when we read these stories, we get to think and say, oh my God, if the Lord would ask me, drop your riches and follow me, I would have followed him, because what a great honor, I'm following God, right? Well, it wasn't like that back then. Because even though Christ was walking with them, their belief in him wasn't 100% yet. Because the miraculous hadn't happened yet. So everything was still building up to the moment that will transcend this world into reality, because Jesus was bringing all the prophecies were becoming true with him. Every time Jesus did something, he was making prophecy come to life. He went somewhere, more prophecy, more writings. Everything he did, it's like if you look at the Bible, and if you can see what happened, and you could be, hey, I can see the schedule is following. You can see the schedule. Lord, this will be Judas. Lord, next week you got to stop at this house right after we get off the boat. But before we get to the house, there's going to be a dude nearby, with chains. He's acting a fool. He's running wild, naked. We don't even know what's going on with the guy. Right now, we don't know if it's devils or demons. But this guy is just acting a fool at the entrance of the village. So we're going to have to do something with him as soon as we get into that city. And he, Judas, going back down the list, telling him everything. If you can read the Bible, you will start seeing the sequence of events and the way they're happening, and you can be like, oh my God, it's like the lessons. I'm starting to think like this. Every lesson that you see in the Bible, okay, is being recorded in someone's mind. There wasn't writing it. It wasn't being recorded at that time. All of this is people remembering what happened. So if someone would have been holding the writings from the prophets, okay, from people from their days, in basically going to the Old Testament and following every book, and you get to see Jesus doing 1 and 2 and 3, every little thing that the Bible describes that Jesus was going to do. It doesn't matter. All the other religions have been trying to say that their deities, okay, their gods or their chosen ones are the ones that are the ones. But if you follow their books to see if that one Messiah did what the book said, they didn't. They kind of didn't, okay? Or if they do mention something, it goes into a very generic, very general, very broad. He came, he taught, he preached. Oh, everybody does that. Y'all need a book or a prophet to tell me that. Anybody, oh, he's the Messiah, he's doing that. Oh, he's the Messiah, he's doing that. No, Jesus came to do strategic moves. They were planned with purpose. If you see every little thing he did when he started his ministry had a purpose. When he did something, it was not just for that one person that was being blessed, but everyone within that area was going to open up their eyes, be blessed, and they were going to see and receive a glimpse of heaven coming to earth in Jesus. Because people that have hope, if they never see, all they have is hope. But when they see something or they hear it just happen, anxiety will take over and say, oh my Lord, this is what I've been waiting for. This is what I've been studying since I was little. And then you go out there to meet the man that is doing that, the guy that is making all this ruckus, and you're like, if you're looking for Jesus with a purpose of looking for Jesus, when you see him, you will know you saw him, or you will know you're still looking at him. You will know he's the one that passed you and touched you on your shoulder. You will know that he's there. Just like that woman that was trying to make it, the woman that was sick for her whole life, the one that was bleeding. That woman saw Jesus over there, perhaps never seen Jesus in her life, but she heard Jesus is in there. In the middle of that mob, Jesus is walking there. So what did she do? She made her way. She dragged herself under all those people with the mind and the purpose of touching Jesus. And what did she say in her mind, her heart? She said, if I could only touch him, I know I would be healed. So that was hope and faith. She didn't know who this guy was. She didn't know nothing. All she knew was that Jesus was here in God's name, and he was bringing hope, and he was healing people. So she knew she had to go there. It didn't matter who Jesus was. She knew she had to touch him. She knew she had to talk to him. But she said, if I cannot do anything, all I want to do is at least, touch a string from his clothing. And she knew that she would be healed. So when Jesus was walking, he knew she was walking behind him or dragging herself behind him. Jesus kept on walking and she kept on going, And when she touched Jesus, Jesus said, halt, who goes there? I hear something. I feel something. Power have left my body. It's amazing, those words. It's just amazing. The power have left my body. So for people that don't understand this, that don't see the way God works, they'll be like, what do you mean power left your body? Isn't Jesus God? Isn't he say he's God, the Messiah? Shouldn't he know this woman was coming to touch him? People always judge the things that Jesus did and the things that Jesus said. And they'd like to question that. The thing is that we sometimes are so dumb that God has to break it down, preschool style, so we can learn from block 1, block 2. Now you see 2 blocks, okay? And if you put one on top, now you got one big block. So God has to break it down in a manner that we can understand. Because when Jesus was doing something with one person, he wasn't just doing one thing with that one person. Jesus was also doing something with the entire environment. Everyone that was near them could feel that power field within that area. If they were in sync with holiness, they would have felt that dome of energy with Jesus. They would have felt it. They would have felt it and say, here is something I can understand. Oh my God, that's a song. Anyways, so when they see that here comes and there is power nearby, you can feel power. You can feel power. And if you don't believe what I'm trying to say, drive somewhere far away and look for one of those power little plants they have in some places, somewhere in the middle of the boondocks. You can see where they put a box with gravel and generators, and you can see the antennas and everything coming out of there. I have been like actually walk next to those things, and every now and then you can hear, you can feel the power that is in there. You don't even see it in the day. You don't see it, but you can hear it. So because you can hear it, you know it's there. The power is moving. And I'm like, man, if I had some way to see it, I bet you it's like lightning bolts flying everywhere in there. That doesn't mean they're very strong lightning bolts, but they're flying everywhere in there. And that's what I can hear. You know, that's exactly what I get to hear. So in other words, power. Jesus has power. And when he is doing something, every time he did something, you could say Jesus was putting up a show. And you know what? I'm glad he was putting up a show, because everyone that was around needed to see what was happening. Jesus says, shh, don't tell nobody what we just did. And what did they do? Oh, screaming to the bloody murder, right? Screaming in the mountains that Jesus has come, you know? And that's one thing that I always think about. Mankind, when you tell somebody, hey, bro, go tell everybody, they don't do it. Hey, go tell everyone about this, they won't do it. But like my mom used to say, diles un chisme, te apuesto que se lo cuentan a todo el valle. That means give them some gossip, and they will spread it like wildfire. You know, we love to talk about bad things. We love to talk about other things. We love to create drama. That's us. Humans love drama. Okay? But we don't need to. The people that are bad like to create that, you know. But Jesus used to tell the people when he did something, go on, do this, and then go home. Go to the church, you know, give your offering, go home. Well, he didn't say the church, but he said the temple. So go to the temple, give your offering, and go home. Go to your family, show them, you know, basically. And what did they do? Ooh, they were dancing, bouncing around, you know. You thought David was out there bouncing around, but these guys were like flying everywhere like grasshoppers, so happy that they were being blessed. I mean, I think I would have done the same thing, right? So now these people make it, right? And they go in places, and then, of course, you always got the dramatics, right? You always got the clique of all the goody guys at church, the ones that are judging everyone except themselves. You always got those. We got them everywhere, not just at church. We got them everywhere in life. It doesn't matter what industry of work you do. It doesn't matter where you're at. You always have cliques. You got one clique pointing at the other one. That's what we do. We tribal. We are very tribal as a human species. Going back. So here we go. Jesus told them, don't tell nobody. So they go on making noise. And you got, you know, the so-called Christians, right? You got the so-called whatever religion they want to call themselves, walking around all mighty and high with their super big hats, you know, letting the whole world know that, oh my God, here comes Reverend so-and-so. Useless. Oh my God, there goes Reverend so-and-so. Useless, you know. But the first thing they do is criticize. And they know the word, they know the law. So when they criticize, they don't understand the power they bring with that criticism. So sometimes they affect believers just by making a comment. even if they don't talk to them, just by making a comment, just because of your stature, you can turn people around from God just because of what you said. Not because you told them directly, but just because what you did and said, and because of what you hold. People will follow that, to be gospel as well. So you have to be very careful what you say. You have to be very careful how we talk about people, or what we say about people. If someone is asking you, what do you think about somebody? Don't tell them how you feel about it. Don't. It's not your business. Okay? And that's what the problem was with the religious people of the day. They saw what was happening, and they couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe that Jesus was God. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. And you know what? I think the reason was because they were expecting the Messiah, to come straight to them. Like, I gotta go see my religious people. I gotta go to them first. Like, they were expecting the Messiah to come to them. Like they were like the ambassadors of goodwill, per se. They were waiting on the Messiah to come to them. So, because they are the faithful ones, they were the guardians of the word, the teachings, the law, the commandments, and yes, they were doing that. They did that. But it became one thing that we don't want anything to ever become in our lives. You never want something to become a routine. When it becomes a routine, it's no longer you doing it. Your mind is doing it on its own. We call it muscle memory. You have your routine every morning. Sometimes, if your keys and this and that are not in the places where you do your routine, you will miss those items. That's why every night, some of us do this, and we put our stuff where those areas are at. Because tomorrow morning, in my routine, I will pass 1, 2, 3, and I'm out. And in those items, on those areas, my things will be there. Everything that I need to go on with my merry day will be on those 3 spots. And I go out. Some people have a bowl outside with everything in there. But not me. I carry a bunch of trash. So I have different areas where I got to go. Get, bag, boom, roll out, So, people expect things. God's not asking you to expect anything. They created their expectations. They created a reality that was not a for real reality, but they created this scenario within their minds. They read the same thing. So the smart one told the other one, and the other one told the other one, and they created the same scenario. Sometimes we all do that at work. You don't know why you're doing something, but then when you look and ask, why are you doing this? Why are we doing this? Well, I don't know, bro, but that's the way they've been doing things here for like the longest. Exactly. You just fell into a routine. So that's what was happening with these religious people. They fell into the routine. And when God came in, when the presence of God was there, just because they were in a routine, they never felt the presence. Like, let's say I follow my routine and my wife puts $100 bill on the kitchen table with a big giant vase of flowers, a big box of chocolates saying Happy Wednesday, right? I follow 1, 2, 3, poof, I'm at the door. Do you think I may see that? I probably won't. Because in my mind, I'm following my routine. And sometimes you don't have eyes on your routine. Your mind is doing it because you're focusing 3 steps ahead already. When I'm still picking up thing 1, thing 2, thing 3, I'm already thinking of myself inside the car, pressing that on button. So, once again, everyone had their own expectations. So that's why Jesus told them, don't tell nobody, just go home. Okay? Maybe Jesus was playing reverse psychology on him. Maybe Jesus wanted him, by doing it that way, to become something of a spectacle. I don't know. When I get to heaven, I'll ask. But right now, I don't know. But Jesus did tell him, just do this, do that, and go home. But attention came, and Jesus gained attention that he did not need it at that time. So that's when when the crowds came in, Jesus had to disappear. You know, so it goes to all of that. Like there is power. We can use power. But we have to know what is it that we're doing. We have to know that there is a purpose. We have to know that there is a reason why it's happening. We have to go back and understand why it's happening. Don't just, we need to get out of that routine that, it's not going to get us anywhere. I mean, getting the things in the morning, your keys and this and that in the morning, there's nothing wrong with that routine. It's something very little and very simple. It doesn't affect. But in the bigger things of life, if we keep following a simple routine, we may miss, those people in need. When I move from A to B, I may miss those people that may be on the way, that may need something. Ever since we got our vehicles, all of us became detached from other people. Back in the day, we used to walk. People used to meet people in the streets. You used to go to the stores that were in the open, and people talk to people. You pass through the market, you talk to people, you learn something. There was all kinds of things in the markets when I was little. Special gas up. Oh my God, every corner had gas up. It was, oh my God. You would spend your whole day at the market watching, doing, buying, eating. There were so many things going on in the market. It was beautiful. When I was little, I had nothing to do. I would just jump on the bus and run to the market. Why? Because the dazzle and dazzle of the thing, it just, oh my God, what's happening here? The markets were alive. Even if you wasn't interacting with anything, but you are inside of this giant organism that is moving on its own. And I'm walking inside of it, and I'm like, oh my God, what is this? And it's doing something. Oh my God, what's that over there? And they're doing their own thing. I used to like it. You used to see good and bad things. Things that you shouldn't even be seeing, you will see there at those markets. And I'm like, okay, it was, those were the days. Now, the car separated us. Then the phone separated us even more. Then the internet came in, and it destroyed everything. But we have faith, and we're trying to use this internet, these social networks that have separated us, and we're doing what I'm doing right now. We try to use it to be able to reach, to be able to find, like this video is going to go somewhere. I don't know who's going to see it later, but I hope that the person that sees it, even if they don't know who I am or they don't know what I'm talking about, but if they can hear the name of Jesus, and they can hear we're talking about a miracle, and they can hear that we're talking about the power of his salvation, those tiny little things that they may hear here and there, if those things could help that one individual that I don't know, if this video could help someone, then I think I helped somebody, and I touched somebody, and I did it in God's name, because that's what we need to do. We need to share. We need to share. We need to be a blessing to others and not just an obstacle to others. We need to be responsible with what we have. I have another video where I was talking about your talents, because I'm a firm believer that right now there's no time for us to be discussing or creating or recreating things. We are at the time where we need to act. We need to start doing things. Okay? The fruits, the farms, everything was planted and is now ready for the pickings. But the laborers are few. You know, many of us are not where we need to be at. A lot of our brothers and sisters are not where they need to be at. We got people that took a sabbatical and it's been like 5 years now. That is not a sabbatical. You know, that is not a sabbatical. That's 1,500, 1,600 days off right there. That is not a sabbatical. So we need to find those people that belong in these ranks. We need to wake them up. We need to drag them back. And we need to make them face forward so they can see that whatever they believed one time is still a reality. They can see that just because you don't talk to God doesn't mean that God's plans are going away. Just because you run away from church doesn't mean we don't love you and we're not here for you. Just because you created some reality in your mind doesn't mean that is reality in everyone else's mind. So we need to find those people that are part of these ranks, and we need to put them right back on those ranks, wake them up, let them see where they stand. Let them choose one more time whether they're going to serve or not serve. You know, we are at that time that we're not talking to people about, you should come to church. God's going to talk to you. God's going to move in your life. I believe right now we're getting ready to battle. We need to gather our soldiers. Okay? Some of us are going to be given the task to go preach. Some of us are going to be given the task to fight. Everyone has a purpose. Some of us are going to be told to provide security for these people, for our people. Someone has to do those jobs that we don't want to talk about. Someone has to be in the front ranks facing the enemy. Someone has to be in the rear providing security. This war we're facing is going from spiritual and is pretty soon taking on a physical shape and is going to start fighting. It's going to fight people. Remember that the beast will gain power and he will fight the saints and he will kill many of them or many of us. If I'm here and I'm one of them, I pray to God that he guides me and he gives me a chance to redeem what he had already redeemed, to give me a chance, but I don't want to fail on the first try. I want to be ready. So when Jesus comes, I want to be ready. So when that trumpet goes on, I want to be the one flying. Even if I'm at the feet of others already flying before me, doesn't matter. I don't care if I fly at the very end, in the very back. As long as I know that I'm going somewhere, I'll be happy. But I want to be on that first pickup. I don't want to be on that second pickup, because that one's going to bring sacrifice. Yes, we need to quit. We need to quit warming up those benches, my brothers. We need to quit warming up those benches. If your role has passed from being a leader, after being a leader, the next role is being a mentor. That means you teach other leaders to lead. And after that, you become a mentor of mentors. But we all have a responsibility. We don't practice that in the United States. But there's places in other parts of the world where they still practice the respect of the elders, and the elders still respect young people and they teach. There are some places where this still goes on, where the elders know their role. The elders know they must do. And the elders are respected, just like in the Bible times, where elders were listened to, where elders were counseled, where people came to talk to them and make a decision, or whatever the case may be, they will always bring the elders. We are the only ones in this country that don't practice that. Or perhaps we do have some people that practice that. But this is not somebody, oh, this country do that because that's our culture. No. This is the way we were all supposed to be working, growing together, raising our families together. These were the commandments that God gave us from the beginning. We don't do it as a culture, so we don't think it's something that belongs to us. Read your Bible, and you will see that we must love and respect. We must respect our elders. We must respect our parents. There's so many we must, that if we go back to see all of that, and we were to follow at least a few of those things, it would change our lives. It would change our cultures, our communities. It will put us on the right track. Nowadays, when someone says, I'm looking for God, we have no idea what he's talking about. Because now God, the word God, has taken a meaning into many things. When you say God, we don't know what God. Back in the day, when you said God, we were talking about the God of heaven. But now people has 1,000 gods in heaven. They have thousands of gods here on earth, and they have thousands of gods under earth. So everywhere you go around the world, they have some sort of God that people are looking for and they're chasing for. So not because you hear someone say, well, I serve God. Well, what God? Maybe you and I are not serving the same God. We need to be more specific. People say, well, America used to be a Christian country. No. My friends, America was never a Christian country. The people in America were Christian, but it wasn't just them. So the people in America were Christian. Some of them were Catholics. Some of them were this. Some of them were that. So in other words, everyone in America practices a religion, So in our dollar bill, it says, in God we trust. If you notice, all the letters are capitalized. Because when you speak of God of the Bible, from day one in the old writings, the God of our Bible was always written with a big G. So we knew we were talking about the God Almighty in heaven. Big G. So when these people put together whatever they did and said, in God we trust, a lot of people fell into that same thing and say, oh, he's talking to me. And you believe in what God? Exactly. He left it open for everybody and all the masses to say, oh, America believes in my God. And everybody was like, in God we trust. So we were all saying, in God we trust. But really, everyone wasn't going to the thought was not being driven to the same God. It was different gods. So because they didn't want it to make people believe, if you write it on regular writings and then you capitalize the G, it'll say, in God we trust. In God of heaven we trust. So they say, hey, no. Just like the good lawyers they were back then, they still are. They wrote it all in capital letters so the word of their God could be hidden in plain sight. All the letters are capitalized, so no one can tell what God we're talking about, because it's capitalized or maybe it's not capitalized. Who's to say? So therefore, that was one of the biggest lies they threw in your face, and we all believed it. Why? Because sometimes we don't understand the details. It's always in the details. My friends, my name is Juan Aguilar. Once again, I hope I was able to share something that could be good for somebody. And if you want to hear more, I'm going to put this video somewhere. And if it's on one of the websites, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a link somewhere that you can share or you can ask. Share with me something, tell me what you think. If this is something that probably wakes up your interest and maybe you want to debate an article, write about it first. Debate it with yourself first. And if you believe that 100%, then you can start debating people. But if you just got some weird idea just because, no. Analyze yourself. Check yourself. See what you're doing first. Before we try to fight someone because of an idea or a mentality or whatever the case may be. If I had said something during this video that maybe got you thinking, oh, he's lying. It's basically my perspective. You can have your perspective. So, as I allow you to have your freedom in your perspective, you should allow us to have our freedom in our perspectives. I guess with that, I covered that. And I would like to say, God bless you. God keep you. God with a big G. Keep you. Bless you and your family. Help me grow. And I will help you grow. If you got something that I should learn, please send it to me so I may learn. If you got something that you think I didn't explain properly, like I said, write it down, Email me, let me know. We can talk about it. But I don't want to debate it because the truth is the truth. And like they say out there, whether you like it or not, it doesn't make it less truth. Thank you very much for your time.